When working with a document database, sometimes the challenge is getting the data back when you do a query in a way that you want to see it. Let's take a look at how you would do that with RethinkDB. And I'll be using the invoices table. And on each invoice, I have a customer. Well, what if we wanted a list of customers? Well, the neat thing we can do here is we can just add on customer in parentheses. And what we get back is, as you would expect, a list of customers. It is just that easy. And you might be thinking, wait a minute, why didn't you just do this instead of concat map in one of those earlier examples? That seemed a little more complicated. Well, the reason is that concat map works on embedded arrays, and this is just an object called customer on our main document. Next up, I can use merge. Merge is a very useful function that you use sometimes with RethinkDB, and what this will do is merge keys onto your result set. So here, I can say that I want invoices now added to my customers that are returned. And if I run this query, you can see I have a new key down below that's an array, and it just says 1, 2, and 3. Simple enough. All right, well, let's continue on here. What I'd really like to do is to get the actual invoice numbers inside of here instead of just these fake ones, and I can do that with another query. And here I have to make sure that I specify the DB that I'm querying against because I'm using the Data Explorer. I'm going to query the invoices table, and I'm going to filter that invoice. Can you guess? You've seen me do these queries enough now that this should start looking familiar to you as you see the REQL kind of flow out. I want to return all invoices with a customer ID equal to what? Well, I have a customer object that I can use, and I can specify the customer ID. What I'm doing here is effectively flipping around and inverting our document, which is something that is actually not terribly difficult to do with REQL. Well, trying to run this, whoops, that's kind of a wonky error. Expected type datum, but found a selection. Well, the good news is we know what a selection is. Selections come from filter. So we can look at that selection and we could say, it's expecting a datum. What in the world does that mean? Well, reasoning it through, merge, it appears, needs to have an actual chunk of data, or datum. And what we're giving it instead is a selection that we're offering from our filter function. What we can do to get around this is to turn that filter function into an array. And we do that using coerce2. Yeah, seems a little hacky, but hey, yeah, it works. Look at this. I should say right now there are better ways of doing this, but I did want to show that it is just this easy to invert your document using REQL and a query that amounts to 8 lines. Actually 7 if I take that space out. All right, well, last thing I need to do here is I don't want the entire invoice brought back for the customer because that would be weird and recursive. So I'll use pluck, and I'll just grab the invoice ID, and now we have an array of invoices with an invoice ID only. And there you go. As you'll see in the next modules, actually shaping your data so you can operate on it is quite important. Here, I inverted our invoice documents to be customer documents with invoices appended to them. And it really was not that difficult.